Green came out in the NBA, and he was basically saying that WNBA players should stop complaining. He received a lot of backlash on that, and he felt like his words were misconstrued. Of course, your words are going to be misconstrued. You're dealing with the media, guys. What I think people are missing the point in the boat on what Draymond Green is trying to say. I'm going to give you some history on this. So I'm going to use another situation, a scenario as an analogy. So there's some people that came up and said that they want to get rid of Black History Month, and that's like the first thing that came to my ear when I heard it. I'm like, what do you mean get rid of Black History Month? Their reasoning is this: Black history is American history. It's not just to be celebrated in the month of February. It should be taught and celebrated throughout the whole entire year. Black people created the ironing board. There's Black inventors that helped create the stoplights and stuff like that. It should not just be celebrated one time, 1 month a year, 28 days. It should be celebrated 365. And the analogy that was used was, there used to be a Black Miss America, because back in the day, Miss America would not let African Americans participate. But now that they allow African Americans to participate in Miss America, there's no longer need for a Black Miss America pageant, because Black African Americans are participating in the regular, because now they're part of it and they've won and they've been successful in that. So I think what Draymond Green pulling from that analogy and all these other things, which I still believe in the Black History Month, I still feel like we should keep it. But I understand the point of celebrate it more throughout the year. Don't just teach kids about stuff. Teach them all throughout the year of things that have happened from the African American culture throughout the year. I feel like what Draymond Green is trying to say is, we understand the issue about the pay. But now let's get it to a point where we're creating revenue streams and generating ideas to the point where we're not talking about the pay scale anymore. And what I mean by that is this: WNBA, now they get national news. They get national attention in terms of sports, the WNBA finals. They get the viewership. They get the same platforms. Like, they're on ESPN. They're on ESPN Plus. They're on ABC. They're on NBC. They get covered. So I think what Draymond Green is trying to say is, like, let's shift our focus what we can do to enhance the popularity of the game. Because if we enhance your popularity, then your pay goes up automatically. But what happens with Draymond is he's just not tactful in what he says. He's dealing with a whole different ballgame. He's been getting paid. He's been getting paid. He's been getting bread. He's been getting broken off, all that. He doesn't understand what the WNBA players are going through. Is similar to what Oscar Robertson, Bill Russell went through. Those guys back in the day, they didn't get paid either. So he's completely kind of forgetting the history of where his pay scale comes from. Comes from the same thing that the WNBA athletes are facing. But I understand what he's saying. Like, let's focus on the solution. Let's stop talking about they're not getting paid, because now we're taking away from. Do you see that highlight from Della Don, or did you see the play from Tina Charles? Like all the wonderful players. Instead of talking about how great they are, we're focused on how less pay they're getting. Instead of focusing on the things that will get them the pay, the engagement, focusing on the great things that they do on and off the court. We're focused on a pay scale. We're not looking at their game, and their game has grown vastly. The WNBA game is very good. It's great to watch. It's very competitive, and I think we're missing the point when we focus on necessarily the pay scale. Here's the thing too: NBA players have to understand this. You have to participate in their growth as well, because the NBA and WNBA are partners. So you can't just say like, don't whine about this, that, and third. You gotta retweet their games. You gotta retweet their highlights. You gotta go to their games, which a lot of players have already been starting to do and have done. But you gotta help spread their game. Because I'll tell you one thing about WNBA players and WNBA athletes, and anybody associated with the organization, they know everything about the NBA. They big up the NBA as much as possible. They can commentate on their game, the WNBA game, and then they can get moved over to NBA game, and then they could give you everything about everybody. They give you everything about everybody, and they miss a beat. NBA players can't do that about the WNBA game. So I feel like they need to educate themselves on that portion. But I understand, like, hey, instead of focusing on the negative, because it seems like you more to focus on that, it feels like the scale divides even larger and larger and larger. Let's focus on the positives and make the game more popular so they can get paid what they're just due. I feel like that's what Draymond was trying to say, but he just can't articulate very well. Who's Junction? Who's me? Super. Like, comment, subscribe.